Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, I have a jam-packed Star Wars news update for you. We have a couple of huge tidbits. We're going to begin by talking about Andor Season 2, and then we have a new look at Star Wars Starfighter. This is going to be a big one, and if you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the big subscribe button down below, ring the bell for notifications, but no more jibber jabber, let's dive straight in. So I have to admit, I get very excited when we still get Andor updates, months and months after the show came to an end. As someone who considers herself a huge Andor fan, it puts a humongous smile on my face when we get any little tidbits, and today, there is something massive. The finale nearly had an extra monologue. That's right, before Partagaz, he was about to give a huge speech. This of course was going to be in reaction to the fact that he was absolutely buggered by that point. He knew there was security waiting for him. He was probably going to be shipped off to another Narkina prison like Dedra Miro, and it was basically over for him as part of the ISB. And after hearing Nemik's manifesto, there was going to be an extra monologue. The details of it, unfortunately, are pretty much unknown. That is enormous, and apparently part of the message of the speech, according to the actor Anton Lesser, is that human beings are flawed. Bad guys aren't all bad, and good guys aren't all good. That's what's so great about Andor. There is nuance. There are absolutely monsters, and there are angels in the Star Wars story, but no one's perfect. And as Andor says, he's done terrible things in the name of rebellion. And the second huge Andor update, my friends, is that Brasso was originally going to be played by Rory McCann, who is the new Baylan Skoll in Ahsoka Season 2. That's according to actor Joplin Sibtain, who said, quote, "He just had a limp and went to work. They did a scan on it, and the consultant said, if you don't have this operated on, you're not going to be able to walk. They reshot it, they did a lot with the Hound's face, and they had to superimpose my face on it." And this is very similar to the Bix situation. Originally, Adria Arjona was scouted for a different Star Wars character, one who apparently was part of the movies. Was she meant to be Rey or Kira, maybe Jyn Erso? But imagine how different Andor would have been with the Hound as Brasso. I just can't see it. Moving on, my friends, now we're going to talk about Star Wars Starfighter. Okay, alright, listen. I'm usually the most skeptical person when it comes to fans saying an actor in an upcoming Star Wars project is going to be playing someone from the expanded universe. But today, I don't know how to say this. I might be convinced. Is that bad? I'm probably going to end up with egg on my face, and I know I'm going to be wrong about this. But all signs seem to point to it, and if they're not going to do this, I'll be honest with you, it's a missed opportunity. So what am I talking about? Star Wars Starfighter, the 2027 movie by Shawn Levy, has been getting some pretty interesting updates. I covered the most recent comments from the director a couple of days ago, but today, we have a new behind the scenes photo. It was Ryan Gosling's birthday, the man himself, the main star of the movie, the uncle to the so-called Force-sensitive nephew being played by Flynn Gray, and it looks very similar to the ones we've already seen, and it's got the oceanic backdrop, the beautiful Mediterranean. But I can't avoid a very small hidden detail in this photo. Take a look at Ryan Gosling's cap. It's obviously out of universe, it's not part of the set, he's just keeping from the sun, and the words on it are "never tell me the odds." The famous Han Solo quote from The Empire Strikes Back. It's an offset piece of headwear, but the choice to wear it in this photo might be deliberate. And look, it could just be the case that Ryan Gosling is a big fan of Han Solo, it's just a quirky reference and doesn't relate to the film, but then there's a part of me that says, what if it's deliberate? Ryan Gosling, his character, might be from Corellia, and there's one character who originates in Star Wars Legends, who's already been brought back into canon, was brought back on screen in Kenobi, who he might be playing the adult version of, Corran Horn. His costume, the appearance, their visual similarities are uncanny. Now last year, I had the privilege of talking to the legendary Star Wars novelist Michael Stackpole, and in our conversation, I actually brought up the subject of Corran Horn, in the context of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but also the possibility of him appearing later on, a canon adaptation. And Michael said, the ages match up fine, and if Patty Jenkins ever makes her Rogue Squadron, he could fit in there, and since Obi-Wan, and since my conversation with him, there have been new developments in canon. It seems like Lucasfilm keeps referencing him and his family to build up to a bigger appearance. Not just a cameo alongside his mother, but something more, a character who's important to the future of Star Wars. Because while Shawn Levy said this movie is mainly new characters, he did mention legacy themes. And if you want to be pedantic, in Disney Star Wars canon, Corran Horn's adulthood has never been explored. And I have my suspicions, a little theory, if Ryan Gosling is indeed playing him. The way I think they're going to explore this is vaguely similar to Star Wars Legends, but with some key differences. I reckon his grandfather, and maybe even his father, were Jedi. His grandfather was Nijar Halcyon, a Jedi Knight from Corellia during the waning years of the Republic. He had strong telekinesis, but weak telepathy, something passed down to Corran in the EU. He had a talent for absorbing energy and preferred practical, low-profile Jedi work. But then there is the curious case of Corran Horn's father, who, by the way, is canon thanks to a small detail in the Kenobi show. His name was Vaylin Halcyon, also known in legends as Hal Horn, and he himself survived Order 66 and then became a Corellian security officer. In the Kenobi show, his was one of the names carved into the wall on the safe house on Mapuso, a member of the underground Hidden Path, alongside Quinlan Vos. So he was part of the network of safe houses that smuggled Force sensitives. The question in canon therefore becomes, why was he separated from his wife and son? Was he finally tracked down by the Inquisitors? Disney's version of events might start out very similar, but with a different context, because in both, I think Corran spends a lot of his life not knowing about his lineage, being cut off from the Force. In canon, we know he has those abilities very young, because that was the reason his mother was seeking refuge off Daiyu. She believed Corran's abilities put him at risk, but it might turn out that he spends most of his life cut off from his Force abilities. And that's why, in Star Wars Starfighter, when he's supposedly in his 50s, he's not fully a Jedi. He might be aware he has powers, they are diminished compared to his ancestors, but he still has some power. His nephew, I believe, has more. And similarly, in Star Wars Legends, Corran's upbringing is very chaotic. He doesn't learn about his grandfather and his Jedi past for many years. He assumed his father was a mere Corellian security officer, and that's where Corran excelled. But then, he came into conflict with Imperials and fled off Corellia after the Battle of Andor. He spent a year living low before saving several locals from the Empire, and then made the decision to join the New Republic. Then he became a highly skilled pilot, joining Rogue Squadron in 6 ABY, and then he became a flight leader. And this is when we get back to how Disney might adapt the story, because in 11 ABY, his wife was kidnapped, and Horn realized that he had to tap into his Jedi talents to save her. Having learnt of his family secrets, he trained at Luke's academy before rescuing his wife. Then for a while, Horn balanced his career of being a Jedi and a pilot, and in 19 ABY, he resigned from the squadron. In the years that followed, he became a Jedi Master, training both his children, and then the Yuzhang Vong War broke out. And so, if Disney's going to do an adaptation, it's going to be a bit different. I think, over the years, since childhood, maybe just like in Legends, his mother died, and he lives cut off from the Force. Because there were rumours that Starfighter involves a kidnapping plot, I wonder if it's Ryan Gosling's character. He's forced to tap into powers he hasn't used in decades. And this could eventually tie into the New Jedi Order, maybe the other post-Episode 9 films, but it's not too difficult or far-fetched to see how they might do this, how they might find a way to canonize his arc. And in classic Disney Star Wars fashion, change it. Lucasfilm recently loves a story about someone cut off from the Force, and then reconnecting to it. Just a theory I have, and some thoughts based on this new photo. Share yours in the comments down below, my dear friends, and if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.